Hello everyone. In this fragment, I will explain how to tackle page 12, 13, and 14 of Lesson 5, America. So, we start with topic 7, how to become the President of the United States. In this topic, I will explain to you which steps you have to go through to become the President of the United States, and then I'll also teach you some election vocabulary. First of all, I'd like you to click this link. So here you have a link to a YouTube video fragment in which you can listen to the explanation of how to become a president. Yeah, it's based on last elections between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and explains step by step what happens throughout the entire process. So please pause this video now, watch the YouTube video first, and then come back here. See you in a minute. So, welcome back. If everything went well, you've watched the video behind this link here, and you already know a bit more about how to become the President of the United States. Now let's fill in our notes. So, you probably remember from the fragment that step 1 is the requirements for a presidential candidate. You need to meet 3 requirements before you can become the president. You have to be a natural born citizen. You have to be born in America. You have to be at least 35 years old, and you have to be a US resident for at least 14 years. So please fill in these requirements in your notes. Step 2. Each party, and in America there are 2, Democrats and Republicans. So each party will try to select one candidate to become the president of America, or the potential president of America. Yeah. So the process in which they select, in which each party selects a candidate, is called primaries and caucuses. Yeah. It's just a different way of selecting a candidate. Yeah? A primary is a vote. Yeah? So all the members of a party, so for example, all the Republicans, will vote for the best Republican candidate that will represent them in the general elections. A caucus is not really a vote, it's a vote in combination with discussions. So all the party members select the best candidate by having a series of discussions, and then next to that a vote as well. Yeah. So each state decides for itself whether they have a primary or a caucus. The end result of the primaries and the caucuses is the national convention. So in the end, all the Republicans come together in their national convention, and all the Democrats come together in their national convention as well, and there each party selects one candidate to run for president. Yeah? So then we know, for example, after the national convention, that it was going to be Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. Step 3 is then the general election. In this step, people will choose either for the Republican candidate or the Democratic candidate. Yeah? So people in every state vote for one president and one vice president. Mind you, though, that in America they will not directly vote for the presidential candidate. It goes via a group known as electors. Yeah? So in a state, you vote for an elector, a representative, yeah? It's a person, yeah? And that elector will then vote for the Republican candidate or the Democratic candidate in your place, let's say. So the final step is then the electoral college, yeah? So people have voted for the electors, and then the electors go to vote for the Republican candidate or the Democratic candidate. Yeah? Each state, as you can see on this map, gets a number of electors. So for example, Florida here has 29 electors. It's based on how many people there are in the state, how many parliament members there are. Yeah, in total there are 538. So all these numbers together is 538. Yeah, so each elector casts one vote after the general election, and the candidate who gets more than half, so more than half of 538, that's 270, that candidate wins. Voila. Yeah. There's just one more thing to remember about this general election, about the electoral college. Yeah. The principle of the winner takes it all. Yeah. So the candidate that receives more than half of the votes in a state wins all the electors of that state. Let me just give an example to explain that. Yeah. So as I said, Florida has 29 electors. Suppose that the Democrats have 17 electors. So that's 17 electors voted for the Democrats and 12 electors voted for the Republicans. The result in Florida will be that all 29 electors goes to the Democrats, okay? So even if the Republicans had 12 electors here, they have to give those votes to the Democrats because the Democrats won in that state. So that's important to keep in mind that this system works here. It's a bit different to the system in Belgium. The last step is then that the newly elected president and vice president are inaugurated, ingehuldigd, in January. That always happens in January. So this is a bit the theory. This is how you can become the president of the United States. As I already mentioned in the beginning of the fragment, the second part of this lesson is election vocabulary. So there are two exercises here on election vocabulary, but I've put them in a book widget for you, okay? So go to Smart School, I'll just show you quickly, yeah? And then here you can see book widget election vocabulary in your assignments of this week. So click this book widget, you will see it will open. And you will see this exercise as the first exercise. It's a bit easier in book widgets because I already give you the possible answers as well, and you have to combine them with the proper description, okay? And then this exercise is the second exercise where you will just have to select the proper word for each sentence, yeah? The book widget will again correct the exercises immediately. You will see a green V every time you type in a correct answer. Yeah. So once the book widget is done, definitely send it to me, but also copy the proper answers, the correct answers, into your notes. Okay. I think I've explained enough here. So that's how you can tackle election vocabulary and presidency in America. Good luck.